I'd come on for a little while. I'm at the laundromat again. There's nothing to do here. There's never anyone to talk to, so I figure we come on and do a live stream at the laundromat. Why not? And you never know. Maybe somebody will do something freaky. Approaching the weekend here, you just never know. Oh no! Now I've got somebody trying to call me. Oh no! Sorry, can't do that while I'm doing a live stream. That'd be kind of interesting. Should put him on the phone. Say, by the way, you're live on YouTube. It's like we got somebody out there. Welcome to the Laundromat Live. Oh my gosh, you could have put some different music on. I was going to find something different than that. I don't know. Well, let's see who's out there. Who's out there? We've got Jill Alcock. It's always nice to see the familiar people on the live stream. And we also have Z Bele. Well, like I always say, guys, I do not have. I have to get a new pair of bifocals, and boy, I'm trying to read here. My eyes, it's a lot easier to do in the dark, and right now I'm out in the daylight. Let me turn this up a little bit. It sucks to get old. For divine justice against, well, I'm not going to say anybody's name like that out loud because I don't want to get flagged or something. I, I, I don't need any problems, and I usually don't mention anyone's name out of courtesy, but I will do that. I will do that in my private life. Absolutely. Any of you guys have any suggestions for subtopics? I was going to talk a little bit about fear. It's something that I think all targeted individuals deal with, and it can get bad. Eddie loves you. Well, welcome to the live stream. One of my very faithful, avid viewers, and welcome. Anyone have any suggestions for a subtopic? We can get to that before people show up. I'm just going to I always wing it. Every now and again, I'll write down something, maybe on a paper plate or a piece of paper, and I'll just kind of go for it because I've been doing this for a long time. I've been dealing with overt, intense harassment for over 30 years now. So it's given me a lot of material and a lot of experience, and at least you don't have to look at nothing. You get to look at the people. There's not a whole lot of people here, but at least there's somebody right there. Oh, I kind of say we need divine shielding, and I think all targeted individuals have a special grace upon their life. As I've mentioned before, that God is near to the brokenhearted, and you guys are dealing with a lot. And regular citizens don't have to deal with that kind of stuff. They are not worried about the things that you're worried about. They don't have the stress that you have, and I think there is a special place in God's heart for targeted individuals and all people who are experiencing affliction. In my opinion, gang stalking is an affliction. And more than anything, even if you're in an MK Ultra program or getting persecuted by the elite or a secret society or a group of bullies who have a lot of technical knowledge and money, it is at the root demonic oppression. And that's just how I view it. Welcome to the live stream. We got somebody right there. So divine shielding, absolutely. You always pray, every day for protection from God. Of course, He knows you need it, but it's always good to come in line with God's will. Let's take a look and see what else is out there. Yeah, Jill Alcock says dissatisfaction. Interesting that you could mix those together, but you can, because emotions and all these things are all related, and they all have a root cause, and that comes out of gang stalking. It comes out of harassment. It comes out of oppression. Okay, and when you're dealing with dissatisfaction, a lot of times I've noticed that the mind or your focus starts to shift, right? For example, we'll just say that I go up and I deliver some food at the hospital, okay? And I notice a lot of people that are sick, or I see somebody that's really messed up in a wheelchair, or somebody who's going through chemotherapy or whatever, you know. Well, it could be worse, right? And even though that sounds weak, you gotta consider the fact that things could be worse, even though they're bad. They can always get worse. And when it happens to me, when I'm experiencing very intense harassment, I always remember that. This is the last thing I want to do is start complaining. And I know it's very tempting. And sometimes I do start to feel that way. I'll start to shift. I'll start looking at things in a negative way. I'll start looking at all the things I don't have or the things I think I need rather than looking at it as God's wisdom allowing these things in my life because he knows what he's doing and God is never wrong. And I'm not trying to tie this together in a deterministic type of way that God is doing this to any of you because he isn't. Okay, the whole purpose of God allowing people to have free moral agency, including angels, is part of a fundamental reality. Everything is working out in the parameters of his creation, and he's sovereign over that. But he lets people make their own choices, and the people that are harassing you, and the beings that are doing these things to you, they are making those decisions, and God in his wisdom is allowing those things, and he can work it out for the good, no matter how bad whatever you're dealing with is. God can work that out for your benefit, and you just have to believe that. I've seen it a lot of times. It's confusing because sometimes you get to the point where you're like, man, this how is this good? How is this going to help me out? And it might be years later, it might be sooner than that, and you see that God has wisdom in these things. Let me take a look and see what's going on in the comments out there. Well, we have somebody talking about the tapering off of benzodiazepines. That is horrific. Depends though. I mean, some people they don't get addicted to benzos in a way that it's just like being addicted maybe to painkillers or something, and it takes them a little while and they get over it. But when you get post-acute withdrawal, oh my gosh, that's horrible. And it can last for years. And then after you get done tapering down, man, you still got to go through it. And that protein that is in your brain that the benzos put there was a conspiracy, literally, to cover all that information up. And they finally put labels on the bottles, warning people of addiction. But you take that stuff for a week or two, a couple of weeks, actually 2 weeks, you can get post-acute withdrawal, puts a protein in your brain, and it sends signals to your nervous system and puts you into extreme anxiety and panic. So I'm feeling you, man, and I've done it. I've done that, and it is beyond anything I've ever experienced, and it makes a bad day of gang stalking look fun. I have to agree. That was just beyond. I stayed awake for over 6 weeks, and my eyes literally crossed the last time I played that game. It was beyond anything. But anyway, let's get into some more stuff here. Okay. Well, we talked a little bit about dissatisfaction. Let's talk a little bit about fear because it's something that I deal with. And I know that as a targeted individual, you guys have been threatened probably, during the street theater or the directed conversations and so on and so forth. And a lot of times the fear can come out of, not even that, just the fact that you're being attacked and that these people you're dealing with are evil. And they are. They're very evil. They're not supposed to be doing this stuff. Here we got another attempted phone call here. He's probably doing that on purpose. He's probably watching the live stream. He probably just wants to show up on here. just in case, my friend up there in Albert Lee is watching the live stream. How you doing, buddy? Probably not something that I should do as far as taking a phone call. And he's probably, he gets up farmer hours. And so he's probably been up since 3, 4 in the morning. So it's a good chance he's probably swilling back a couple old Milwaukee's right now. I never recommend that anybody go live on YouTube after they've had, maybe more than a glass of wine. That'd be pushing it. I've seen some pretty bad videos, man, where people get drunk and they get on there and they start telling everybody, it's like, whoa. And, the video ends up disappearing usually. But, wow, yeah, you don't want to do that. But the fear factor that targeted individuals deal with comes out of a lot of those things. These people don't have any business being in your life. And the fact that there's a collusion of individuals, however that works in your scenario, whether it's a type of, hive mind that you have been dealing with, maybe that have been throwing different themes at you as a targeted individual, because they want to do that. They want to give the clear message to the targeted individual that it's not just a random, thing, that you're not just dealing with one person. You're dealing with a hive. You are dealing with the collective. Okay. You're dealing with the perps, and there's more than one. There's more than just a few. And if you're a targeted individual who's, tried to escape and leave your geographical area, well, you found out that there ain't really nowhere you can go to get away from these things. And that's really scary, because at first the targeted individual is assaulted and it's scary. You're trying to figure out how these people know what they know, depending on what you're dealing with, why they're after you, what's going on. Why is it that you're the only one that seems to be in the dark? You don't know what the hell's going on. You feel like a second-class citizen. You feel persecuted. And then on top of all that, they're everywhere, right? And it just compounds the fear. And you don't know what's going to happen, aside from the fact that you're probably going to receive threats, along with the directed conversations and street theater. And a lot of times, just the fact that your reality is so distorted, the fact that you're in a place where things have changed so drastically for you that I think all targeted individuals fear that they are going to be driven insane, right? And a lot of times when you're dealing with the directed conversations or all the chatter that goes along with gang stalking, they will threaten that. I've had a lot of threats. We're gonna drive you crazy. You're gonna go to the hospital and lose your keys forever, and all this. And I remember when I was up in going to the crisis center to begin the detox process for the benzos, there was some of the staff were perps. Okay, I'm not, I don't know how to explain all these things except that it's a spiritual issue. But they were messing with people. They were messing with me. They were trying to, they were saying, well, can you read our name tags? And they had fake name tags that just had a bunch of garbled letters on them. I could read the magazines and so on and so forth in the waiting room just fine. And I could see everything else. And they were trying to have fun with me, like it's a joke. I'm losing my mind. I'm going through withdrawals and they're saying, oh, let's play a little game, but that wasn't enough. And so they're messing around. And this one lady, she kept saying things. And one of them was, oh, welcome to the crazy place. And you're going to be here forever and ever and ever and ever. And then the same gal with another girl that, in fact, I've told the story about that guy that was in there who got chased to Mexico. They came walking in our room in the middle of the night and started flicking the lights on and off and just dancing around and around and laughing hysterically. Like a bunch of, I don't know, clowns or something. I mean, it's just crazy. And the themes that the targeted individual will deal with often involve the fact that you're going to be driven insane, or that, you're just not going to make it through this. Let's see what's going on in the comments out there. Well, I'm trying to see what Jill Alcock is talking about. I need to get a hold of my emotional sounding. I'm a little confused on what that is, Jill. What are you talking about specifically? Well, I'll come back to you. I'm trying to pay attention to all this stuff. Hospitals are very aware of the program, and many are involved in the perping. So I've seen that. I've seen it many times. I've had to check into hospitals before, over the years when I was addicted to those tranquilizers and so on and so forth. And it was always like that. There was always people there that were going to yank your chain, and it was always a type of agenda to get you to believe that you're crazy, along with all the games and everything. Jill, and she says, spending. Are you talking about spending money to deal with your emotional, I don't know, imbalances? I'm a little unsure what you're getting at, Jill. I'm sorry. Oh, your emotional spending. I got you. Okay, I finally put it together. I'm not really that bright of an individual. Uh, I can I can tell a good tale. Well, a lot of times targeted individuals will get caught in a lot of vices to try to make up for things. Okay, and it happens to me. I have a very addictive personality. I've gotten, caught into gambling. I mean, I've never had a whole lot of money, so it just didn't work out for me. Or substances, or food. Anything can really present a problem for targeted individuals. And I've talked about the deprivation that a lot of targets are dealing with. And as a result of that, you got to make up for it. Your brain is wired that way. So you are wired to have different rewards. The targeted individual is experiencing deprivation in a lot of different areas, and you're going to try to make up for that. And I've mentioned before, like when you get into, countries or societies that are in a depression, financially, economically, or maybe they're at war, substance abuse and all kinds of addictions and whatever, they become an issue. And it's not by mistake. It's just simply like that. And so I don't, as far as advice on what to do, emotional spending, uh, I don't know. Try to find a hobby or a project that is constructive. Maybe this is a good. I've done this before, to where I can still accomplish something and get a reward from it. Maybe something like crafts, arts and crafts. Those are good. And that way you can kind of decorate your house or whatever, or give gifts to people, and you can be creative. And it's gonna distract you, because you're gonna have to focus on it. And it's going to be something that is beautiful. When you're done, you are literally producing something, not only accomplishing something, but you're creating beauty in the world, whether it's for decorating your house or making someone else happy or whatever. Or you can be creative. Maybe there are things to fix around your house, and you can study YouTube and try to find out ways to remedy those issues, and save some money or whatever. Things like that. And you can use that dialectic distraction, that dialectic behavioral therapy, to give yourself something to do, because you're searching for a reward. You are searching for a quick fix. And when it comes to shopping, that could become obsessive. So, uh, guys, the whole subject of fear is very complex. And I'll just say this. As a target, I deal with it all the time. A lot of people are ashamed of that, and I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm not, because I know it works into the strategy of gang stalking. Okay. And when people are afraid, a lot of times that is connected psychologically to shame. It's just the way people are raised. And, you don't want to fall into that trap. That's part of the mechanism where targeted individuals are trapped. And it's part of the campaign. And don't let anybody shame you. Don't let anybody say, "Oh, no, you're not living by faith. You're being honest." Okay. If there's danger and you have fear, that's a legitimate emotion. It's a legitimate scenario, and it was given to you by God. It's if there's a reason to be afraid, then that's not a problem. Okay, if you're someone who's obsessed with things and developing phobias, which is really what happens when a targeted individual is attacked, that's something that you have to recognize and try to walk out of that. But to be ashamed, no, you don't want to do that. But unfortunately, guys, this is going to be a very short live stream because I've got to get going. I've got to get back to work. And all my clothes are done. I've got to fold them and I've got to get back. But hopefully I'll be able to do another live stream tonight. And I'm sorry if I didn't get to your questions, but I've got to get going now. The link is in the description if you want to help support the channel. God bless you guys. Be good to yourselves. Be safe.